All right, so I've been following the new monkeypox czar, and he's a little controversial. His name is Dr. Dmitry Daskalakis, I think. He has a long history in working public health on issues pertaining to the LGBT community. He's helping lead the Biden administration response to the monkeypox outbreak. Now, I want to give you the lowdown on him from the Daily Caller. Prior to serving in the White House, the doctor was the director of the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC Division of HIV Prevention. According to the statement, he led the New York City Department of Health and Mental Hygiene infectious diseases efforts and developed a clinical practice focused on serving negligible LGBT communities. Over the course of his career, he's developed and deployed some unorthodox tactics to serve that demographic. For instance, he operated an HIV and hepatitis screening clinic out of a small office inside a Manhattan S&M club called Paddles, where men could pay $40 to, part with their coats and clothes and be paddled. He also has dressed in drag to administer meningitis vaccines at sex clubs and bathhouses during an outbreak in New York. He is known as a progressive radical gay doctor. All right, that's the label given to him by an HIV/AIDS organization. So they're on his side, and they're like, you're radical. Now, NPR just released an interview with the good doctor, and they had 8 questions with the doctor about stopping the U.S. monkeypox outbreak. And reading and listening to him, he sounds rather reasonable. But they didn't ask him all of the questions that perhaps should be asked. There is a story out about some of the things that he has posted online that are a little disturbing. He is a Columbia University undergraduate, general and religious double major, and some of his, starting with the tattoo on his chest of the pentagram, appears as though he kind of digs Satan a bit. Alongside his partner, Michael McNeil, the pair launched a goth gym in New York, which originally ran out of the high-profile Equinox gym chain before spinning into its own brand based on in a former gay nightclub that in turn had taken over an old church in Manhattan. It's called Monster Cycle. And it's got a lot of stuff on their website, references to Satanism, the devil, burning crosses, pentagrams, the usual stuff for your gym. He has a tattoo of the pentagram on his chest, and it says, "I've learned there's light even in the darkest of places." Along with that, he apparently has a corpse of a dead creature of some sort, a serpent. Also a head with 3 eyes, what appears to be a saint-like figure, or even maybe Jesus Christ across his stomach. And in his posts, which now have been removed, there was a series of images from 2012 that appear to depict a seance. They're at a Ouija board ceremony with a lit crucifix that was laying on the pentagram on the table. He's got an image wearing a pentagram helmet with an upside-down cross above it, and his partner is dressed, I guess, like Christ, if that's with a crown of thorns. And then, he's got the post that says, "We'll steal your soul." All of these things. Now, the press says, well, he's just entertaining. Well, yeah. I guess if that's what you like. There's a lot more of this kind of stuff, but that doesn't make you necessarily a Satanist. And let me play devil's advocate here, possibly truly devil's advocate. Let's say that you believe this guy's just a performer and you can reach the community that most people need. You know, the people that are really in need, he's there, he's got it, you know, and he's just a performer. And, you know, maybe there's a chance that he's not a performer. I don't know. But if that's true, let me ask you, who refused the COVID vaccine at the highest rate? And was COVID a bigger risk than monkeypox to the general population? The answer to that, according to the president, is clearly yes. Well, Donald Trump volunteered to speak up and let the White House, Biden, use him. Many conservatives even took the vaccine, but no one was ever asked to be a spokesperson. The Biden administration never took up that vile Donald Trump, who was saying the same things they were about the vaccine. So if you're truly willing to deal with the devil to protect people, why would you do it this time and not then? By the way, this brings up some disturbing things. You know, we're not talking about somebody that is, you know, in an offshoot kind of thing, like, yeah, he's going to be deciding the color of green in our stoplights. This guy is part of the medical community and our healthcare system. The same system that lied about the effects of COVID. The same system that never stood for our children. Never told us about the vaccines or even our children's, the effects of isolation. In fact, denied those things. Is anybody concerned about the doctors that we are now putting together that are not treating people they disagree with over vaccines or hate? There's a perversion of the Hippocratic Oath that is happening right now, which is first do no harm. First do no harm. Is that what we're doing with our children? Is anybody worried about the corruption of the CDC? Fauci, the merger of government, pharmaceutical companies, and doctors? Cutting parents out of the medical decisions, life and death, sex and gender, pregnancies, all of these things. Cutting the parents out of that line, willing to allow babies to die or be killed after birth? I don't know. I think we should probably pay attention to what's going on. But the problem is we don't recognize evil anymore. I never understood that good would become evil and evil would become good. I never understood, how could that possibly happen? Well, now we know. Now we know. A very well executed propaganda machine that starts in our schools and teaches the things that we think are no big deal, and it gets worse and worse and worse, and at the same time, they delete all of the truth until it gets to a point to where the people wake up and is it too late? My answer to you is it's not too late. We just have to decide what evil is. Is it evil to sexually abuse children? And let me define that. Somebody who has a attraction to minors, who is an adult, decides they're going to have sex with a very willing 8-year-old. Is that evil or not? Say it out loud. Yes, it's evil. If you disagree with me here, you got a long ride on. And you are part of the problem. If you're neutral on that or unwilling to say that, you are part of the problem. And you will be swept up into the other side, and you don't want to be there. Is it evil to show sex acts to minors, to teach them how to perform sex acts? Is it evil to have drag queens come into our schools where kids can put dollar bills into their G-string or just hand it to them? Is it evil to indoctrinate children into hopelessness and hate for the family, hate for God, hate for their own country? Is it evil to force people in to medical experiments Is it evil to dismember or amputate perfectly good limbs or appendages on a healthy body? Is it evil to endorse and excuse mass looting? To encourage anybody to just go into a store and take what they want and leave? Is it evil to burn down whole cities? To encourage that or to excuse it? Is it evil to intentionally destroy families, to intentionally destroy gender, to say there is no such thing as a woman, no such thing as a man? Is it evil to cancel free speech in a much more widespread way than the Red Scare? Is it evil to preach color of skin over content of character? 15 years ago, 10 years ago, I could have given that list, and everyone in the country, even Bill Maher, even Joe Biden, would have absolutely said, even if it was just for performance, they all would have said, of course those things are evil. Now, our system is pushing and preaching these things. Look, you don't need to be some hero. You don't need to be Martin Luther King. You don't need to be Dietrich Bonhoeffer. All you have to do is just recognize the difference between good and evil. That's it. Just recognize it. No, that's evil. I can't do that. Nope, that's evil. So what is the opposing force of evil? Because I guess that's what you have to be. It's not good enough, as they say now, it's not good enough just to be against racism. You have to be an anti-racist. Well, that seems evil because that is just getting revenge. That's participating in the thing you say has been so destructive of human beings. And I agree with you. So now why would we do that? So how do you fight evil? There is truly only one way. I'm going to explain the difference between good and evil for those who don't really understand in 60 seconds. All right, so we don't recognize evil anymore, but do we recognize good? Do we recognize good? What is good? Is love good? Love is good. Real, true love, if you understand the definition of love. Love is good, but love is God. If you don't believe that God is love, then you've got a screwed up definition of God and love. There is no fear in God. Well, have you read the Bible? It's a pretty scary thing. Yeah, the last part is kind of scary. Why was that given to us? That was given to us so we would not fear and we would be prepared for when, what does they say would happen? Good becomes evil and evil becomes good. You'd be prepared. So there is no fear in love. And love is more than just words, it's action. It should be the main driving characteristic of each of us. It's not of me. I try, but it's not of me. Love is patient. Love is kind. It does not envy. Now, remember, so when it's saying what it is, it also says what it isn't. So a meritocracy, does that involve envy? No, it shouldn't. A meritocracy is just based on the color, not on the color of your skin, but on the content of your character and what you do with your life. And why should anybody be envious of that? They have their own thing. Love is kind. It does not boast. It is not proud. It does not dishonor others. It's not self-seeking. It's not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. It keeps no record of wrongs. It does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth, and it always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. Love never fails. This was written by a guy who didn't believe in Jesus. In fact, was killing all the guys that liked Jesus. Till he kind of had an encounter. He's like, whoops, I was wrong. Hey, first thing, redemption. And don't hate the guy who was literally killing your people. Let him go. If he's changed his life, if he's honest about it, great. Because he might be the biggest spokesperson. He might bring to the table something no one else can bring. And he talked about love. He's the one who wrote all of that. And he wrote it because the church at the time was really, they weren't demonstrating love. And he said, if I speak in tongues of men or of angels, in other words, if I'm talking about all these great things, but I don't have any love in my heart, I'm just making noise. What are we doing right now? How many of us are talking about what we believe in or what we're against, but we don't truly have love in our heart for the people who are now persecuting us? That's what this message was all about. It means love is patient. It means loving someone even when you really don't want to. That's how I always know something is from God. Oh no, please, no, I don't. No, not that. I don't want to do that. When you really don't want to love somebody, that's when you're supposed to. But don't confuse this. This does not mean you love evil. It means you stand up for truth. Again, you don't need to be some hero. This is very easy for all of us to do. You don't have to start some organization. You don't have to join any march. You don't have to do anything. You just, in your realm, never, ever tolerate lies on things that you know are untrue. Sexualization of our children is bad. Evil exists, and it has conned a good number of our society into believing evil over truth and good, and more importantly, it's captivated many of our hearts in believing you can't win or to stay silent.
Beck program.